Hello everyone and welcome back to our Python programming course. This whole playlist is about all those students who haven't written a single line of code and wants to learn Python programming language from scratch to advanced level. We are taking everything from very basic to advanced and covering every milestones. I hope you all are doing well. This is Isha Rathore, currently studying in Lovely Professional University. As discussed in the previous lecture, started our Python journey by learning the fundamentals or the basics of Python programming. We understood what actually programming meant, what is Python, why Python has become one of the most popular programming language for the beginners or experts, and where is it used in industries like AI, machine learning, data science, web development, cyber security, automations, and many more. You name it, and there is Python. Also, we have discussed how and why the Python have been so popular since it is used in many big companies like Google, Netflix, even NASA uses it for scientific calculation. We have given you a brief idea about how Python actually is very useful. We have also discussed the important features of Python, that how it is go-to language for beginners, how it is a beginner-friendly language. Such as it has simple syntax, it is very much readable, very much portable, and has a huge collection of libraries. Towards this end of lecture, we wrote our first Python program using print function. We have written kind of a base, we have given you a basic idea how to write your first message, how to display a first message or a number or anything. We have given you a brief idea about data types like a little bit of idea of strings and booleans and floating numbers, that is decimal numbers and basic numbers. We learned how the print function is important and how it displays the output on the screen, and saw how even a single line of Python code allows us to communicate with a computer. That lecture helped us to understand what Python is and what Python does, how it actually works. We write our first single line of code in the previous lecture. Hope you have practiced it. Today's lecture will be a little different, a slightly advanced concept compared to the previous one. Before we start writing larger programs, we first need to understand the language of programming. We need to understand the terminologies, the terms. Every subject has its own vocabulary, its own grammar. So even the programming language has its own kind of vocabulary. For example, if we take mathematics, we use terms like equations, algebra, geometry, calculus, etc. In biology, we learn like cell, tissue, organism. Without these words or terminology, we weren't able to understand how to solve a mathematical problem, or we will not understand how organisms work if we don't know these terminology. Similarly, programming also has its own terminology. Words like syntax, keywords, identifiers, literals, expressions, statements will appear in front of you in future in programming works in every programming language. I know this might sound a little bit confusing and scary, but trust me, these are very easy to understand and it will clear your all basics. If we understand these terms today, we will able to read and understand full lecture will with more easier concepts clarity. In today's session, our goal is not just to memorize. Our goal is to understand these basic concepts with simple examples. With that, let's move to our first slide of this lecture, that is Python terminologies and core concepts. As the title has been already discussed, whenever we begin about learning any new language, whether it's Hindi, English, French, Japanese, or even Python, the very first step is understanding the vocabulary. Imagine you are trying to learn English without knowing words like noun, verb, adjective, or sentence. would be extremely difficult for you. Because ever since we are learning the language, for example, English only, first we have been taught how to write letters, how to read letters, what the sounds of letters are. Then we started to merge the letters. That become, with the help of that, it becomes a sentence. Then it moved to paragraphs. Then we wrote essays and articles, etc. Before we start writing long programs, we must first become very familiar with the basic terms that a programmer uses in every day. Not these programming languages, these terminologies are not just for our use, but also for others. So you can communicate with the programmer too. Okay, so throughout this lecture, we will understand these programming terms by one using very simple examples. We just have to sit and listen very carefully. Once these concepts become very clear, reading Python code will be very easier for you. You will notice that these terms are not limited to Python. Actually, these terminologies are used in almost every programming language. C, C++, Python, JavaScript, whatever you say. Therefore, learning vocabulary will also help you in future if you decide to learn another programming language. Now, the question you must be thinking, why should we spend so much time in learning these vocabularies before writing the programs? Why we are just cramping? Why I'm just again saying that we should learn these terminologies? Why should we learn this? I will let you in the next slide. So, before learning grammar in any spoken language, we first learn words. Programming follows similar kind of principle. Okay. Suppose someone asks you what is a variable and you become blank. Then what is the use of understanding the language? If you cannot understand the basic meaning of that, or you don't know what is a variable, syntax, or what is an identifier or a literal, how can you expect that you will be able to read whole Python code? If you haven't never understand these words before, the programming will become more and more confusing, harder to understand. That is why uh, the understanding of these are very much is like your first building block towards these programming language. We have already set up your base in the previous video. So here we are just moving one step ahead. Let us understand each point on this in the given slide. First, programming vocabulary. Programming vocabulary simply it means learning the common words that programmer use every day. For example, if you are communicating with a programmer and he asks you which keyword did you use or which variable did you use, and you don't even know the meaning of that, how would you able to communicate with them? These word also helps us to understand the documentations, the books, the tutorials, whatever you need out of this programming. You first should know the basic vocabulary. Second is understand Python. Once you know the terms, Python programming becomes very much easier to read. Instead of seeing random words on the screen, you will immediately recognize what each part of code is doing and what does that part of code meant to you. Instead of always seeing that, okay, we are just randomly using some names, some numbers and all, you will finally knowing the logic behind it. You will be able to write better code. Good programmers don't only write program that works, they write programs that other people can also understand. So they can also collaborate, and other can also collaborate in your whatever you are program or work is, and they can collaborate in your project and make it more effective, more efficient. Understanding programming language helps us to choose meaningful variable names, write a cleaner code, organize programs properly. It is always said the cleaner the code, the good the program it is. So we have to write a good, cleanable, and understandable code whenever we are writing the program. Also, it helps us to debug faster. Now you have another term that is debug. It is similar to what the name suggests. Debug, removing bugs. Bugs are the errors that are in the programming language. See, every programmer makes mistakes. Sometimes, even if you have seen in the previous lecture, there were error messages whenever I wrote a wrong kind of structure in Python. The kind of error message appeared like syntax error, name error, type error. If you already understand these programming terms, solving error becomes much easier for you. Is as I told you that whenever we are writing print, we always have to write it in lowercase because Python is a case sensitive language. If you're writing the P in the capital, it will take it as an another word and won't it won't work as a print function. So that is a syntax error. Okay. Now with these, you will become a better programmer. Learning programming, it's just not about writing code. It's about understanding concepts. So because once your fundamentals are clear, your core concepts also will be very much strong. Learning advanced topics like OOPS, that is object-oriented programming, file handling, regex, data structures, will be very much easier for you. As I told you, these concepts like OOPS and file handling, regex will be discussed in the upcoming lectures. So you don't have to worry. Also, a real life example I would like to show you that is we take two students. Student one only memorize and cramps the code without understanding what's the logic behind it. And student two understand what variable expression statements and syntax actually mean. He understand each and every line of code and know what each part of code is doing. After a few weeks, you will notice that student B is able to understand the program very much well. He will be doing very much well and understand the core logic. That is the main motive of learning any programming language. That is exactly why vocabulary is so much important. Now, since we have cleared and understood why vocabulary is important, why does it matter so much? Next slide, we will look at simple mind maps that connects all the important concepts that we are going to learn in this lecture. Okay. So this is our lecture. Next slide. Here I have created a basic mind map. So because it is more like easy to understand. Okay. So these are seven core terms or the foundation of Python. Okay. This slide shows us a mind map of these basic Python terms. A mind map, you can say, is a simple way or a good visual effective way of understanding how different concepts are connected with each other. Like if we are in this whole structure, we can understand what all the seven terms are look like, how they are connected. Also, we will use some kind of examples and all, so you don't have to worry. As a beginner, many students think that programming consists of only writing of codes. However, it's not true. Programming is actually made up of many small things, many small concepts that works together. These seven terms, the mind maps, are among the first concept every Python learner should learn and is still learning. We will briefly understand what each term actually means. So the first term is syntax. Syntax refers to the rules that is already has been set for a programming language. Every language has its own grammar, as we know. Even when if it's English, Hindi, or any language has its own kind of grammar, a set of rules, a simple structure. Similarly, Python code should also be written in a kind of a rule, which is known as syntax. You can name rule as an another synonym of syntax for Python languages. Okay, just like every spoken language has its own grammar, Python do also have an own grammar. If we don't follow the grammar, the programmer cannot successfully understand and the program would not execute. Now, second thing is keywords. Keywords are the special words or they have like literally special meanings. They are very much reserved words by Python itself. If they are written in uppercase, you have to write in uppercase. If written in lowercase, you have to write in lowercase. They are reserved. You have to use them exactly how they have been set. There are exactly, I guess, 33 reserved words, 33 keywords in a Python. You will understand each of them in upcoming videos. Since Python already uses these words internally, we cannot change them. We cannot use them for our own variable name. Now, what is variable? Since I talked about variable only, variables are like containers that store information. It's like a box that is storing some information. Instead of remembering a value directly, we store these value in kind of a variable and use the variable instead of calling the data again and again whenever we need it. Then the next topic is identifiers. Identifiers are simply the names we give to the variable or functions or classes or any other user created thing. Whatever a user creates, its name is known as identifier. I will let you know these words might be very much confusing and looking very scary right now, but when we will look into the examples, you will be able to cover these very easily and it will be very easy to understand. Just listen right now, whatever I'm just saying, okay? Now, literals. As the name suggests, it means actual value that appears inside the program. Since variables are storing the value, whatever the value is, that is literal, okay? These literals these all are literals are very important because they represent the data. We cannot work in any kind of programming language without data. Then expressions. Expressions is a combination. It's a combination of values, variables, operators, and it is used to produce kind of a result. A very simple example I would like to give you. If you are adding two numbers like 5 plus 10, that's 15. It's an expression because we are using values and we are using operators and it is giving us a kind of result. So it's an expression. Now it comes statement. A statement is a complete instruction given to a Python. For example, when we in the previous video we were printing a message or we were printing a number or printing a float that is a decimal number, a statement because it tells Python how to perform and what to perform. Okay, so we have briefly just given you the idea of each of the seven terminology. During today's lecture, we are going to understand each one of them very in a practical way, and we will be every terminology will be given some examples. Once these becomes very clear for you, I think Python code will be much easier for you. So let's move. Now, what is syntax? Syntax, as I already told you, it is the first word that every programmer learns, every programmer hears. Simply, if you want to ask me, syntax is the rules that tells how the code should be exactly written. Every programming language has its own syntax. Every language has its own rules or own grammar. So Python has its own syntax also. So if we are looking at this slide, imagine I am writing a structure that is, am I a student or student am I? So though these all words are correct, am is correct, I is correct, student is correct. But the problem is sentence structure because we have given a specific kind of structure, a specific kind of rule, specific kind of grammar that tells us that even though all the words are correct, the sentence is grammatically incorrect. The correct sentence is I am a student, obviously, because grammar tells us, the rules tells us what is the correct order of words, how to arrange the letters in a way that it gives a meaningful sentence. Similarly, Python syntax tells us the correct order of writing the code. For example, in PPT, you can see, I have already given you an example. We have simply printed a message, hello. But if we are just removing any one kind of inverted quotation or any one brace, the whole structure, whole rules, whole sentence will be wrong, and it will throw you an error message. Many beginners think computer understand what we mean, but it's not true. Unfortunately, computers do not understand our intention. They don't have common sense. They are just like robot. Whatever we set them, whatever the rules we set them, they took it as it is. They only understand correctly written instructions. When a very small mistake can stop the entire program from running. So since we have talked very much about theory, let's switch from PPT to our platform, that is VS Code. So I have already given you a basic information that what is a VS Code. It is a platform where we write our code, and it's an offline platform, uh, offline compiler, I would say. Similarly, we have written simple printing message in here only, or even if you don't want to download it, you can go on any online platform. Okay, just you have to type on Google online Python compiler, and you can write code there only. The only problem is in offline compilers, your code will be saved. In an online compiler, there is no chance of saving your code. Okay, so first example, like let us understand practically about syntax. Simple, I'm writing print Python. Okay, and we are just going to run this program. See, it is printed Python. Okay, this is a perfectly valid Python statement. It's a statement. We have given a simple statement. Okay, we have written the function name correctly, RINT, and it's in lowercase. That exactly makes it working as a function. We have opened and closed the parenthesis, that is the braces, right? We have written the word in a double inverted quotation that makes it string. Therefore, Python executes it successfully without throwing an error. Let us just make a change. We are just removing one parenthesis. So you can see there is an error mark showing here, and it is also telling us what is the error. Let's just run it. See, you got the syntax error because you violated the rule, wrote the wrong rule. This time we forgot to close the parenthesis. Immediately Python reported a syntax error. Notice that a Python even points the location where it is found, right? This helps programmer to debug, to identify mistakes quickly, and it will help him or her to fix his or her mistake. What if we write it as like this? Will this work? No, because now we have given a name error. We have again violated the rule. Because now it is not working as a function, it is acting as a word, a name. So this is not how we are going to print anything. We have to always use in lowercase for using the print function because Python is a case sensitive. Okay. Now what if we are just removing the inverted quotes here? Now again, it is not working because it is taking it as a word that had no special meaning here. So you have to remember that whenever you want to write a word, it should have quotation marks so that it can work as a string. Here Python assumes that this word Python is a variable. Since no variable called Python exists, it is showing a name error. So important thing is, as a beginner, we often think and we become nervous that, oh my God, we see the error, what we will do. However, errors are very much normal. It's a part of programming. It is experienced by experts, even software developers make mistake every day. The important thing is to identify and fix those errors. Okay. Now, again, we have already seen the practically what we were doing. Okay. So, syntax we have done. Now, we are learning about two more concepts, that's our keywords and identifiers. So these two terms are often very confusing for beginners because both involve words and are used inside a program. However, they have completely okay. Keywords are reserved words. You are seeing some words are written here, that is if, else, while, for, class, returns. They have a special meaning. They have reserved meaning. These words are predefined in Python. They are the part of a language that are inbuilt. Okay. Whenever Python sees this word, it immediately understands their purpose. Their purpose has been already defined. You cannot use them otherwise. You cannot use them for any other word. Therefore, it does not allow to use them as variable. Identify is something that is created by us. Us means programmers. It is created by programmers. Every time we create a variable, function, or class, we choose an identifier. Some examples are age, marks, student name, total marks, whatever. So remember, if you are using keywords as an identifiers, you are doing a big mistake. Now let us again. You must be getting very much confused. What is like these variables and all? I'm giving you a very basic. Suppose I am writing a name, a word name. This is my variable. Since in maths we have already learned what is a variable, it does not have any fixed value. We have created just a variable. Okay. There are certain rules, but you have to understand is it can never start with a number. A variable should never start with a number. It will throw an error. It should, if you are using special character, it cannot use special character except underscore. Okay, because that have a whole different meaning. You will know it in future lecture. Okay. So remember this. You can use it like name 123. That's fine, but you cannot do it like 123 name. It will show an error. A variable should be in letters only. Now, since I've given a name, a variable, it's a name of a variable. Remember, and I am assigning a value that's Isha. Okay, and I want to print the name. Like I want to print the Isha. So I have stored the value here. So instead of writing Isha, I am going to write it like name. See what happens. You can see here the name is has been printed. Okay. What if we directly write it print Isha? That's also completely fine. We can write in both ways. But the problem is when you will be writing codes further, there will be hundreds lines of codes, not a single line of code. You have to use this variable again and again. Instead of writing Isha, 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 you just have to use this variable and you will get your output. So this is what we say is variable. Okay. So here, if we want to give another example, let us uh, age, that is suppose 18. Okay. And I'm also printing age. See, my name and age has been printed. Here, name and age are identifiers, or you can say these names, whatever the names have been given, like name or age, are identifier because we created them. As a programmer, I created them. Okay, but the values now, here the whatever the values are, these are literals. Okay, Understand the word? These are literals. Okay. Now, if you write it like if at if, okay, and you try to print it, it will definitely throw an error because if is a reserved word. Okay, it will give you an invalid syntax error. Okay, Python immediately reports it as error because if is already a keyword, cannot be used as variable name. Okay, so hopefully you understand this basic thing. Okay, already I told you whenever you are writing the identifier, it should never start with any special character except underscore or at the rate, and it should never start with number. You can use underscore after that. You cannot even give the space. Suppose you have to write it like name 2, and you have to write Arja, okay, and you want to print it name 2. It will give you an error because whenever suppose we have used in a name here, you want to name it as name 2, but you cannot use a space between. So what we have to do, we can just use an underscore between. This will helps us to make a second name, like we are using same thing but a different variable. Okay, you can use underscore as in space. Okay, because it's perfectly valid identifier because it follows Python naming and rules. The simple difference in short I want to tell you is between, between keywords. An identifier is keyword belongs to Python, it comes with Python, and identifier belongs to programmer, it is created by us. Whenever you create a variable, functions, classes, whatever in future, you will be creating identifiers, not keywords. Now we understand syntax, we understand keywords, we understand identifiers. We are ready to learn how Python actually stores information. I have given you a basic language. I have already given you how to store information in the practical theory part. We are just moving more. Now variables. As I told you, think of variables like a container that is storing information. Okay. In the previous part of today's lecture, we learned about the three main terminologies. We saw how coding syntax error occurs, why Python rules are very much important to follow. Now, where does Python store the data? It is storing data through variables. Whenever we write someone's name, one's age, one's mark, or salary, or any other information, in a program, Python needs a place to keep that information. This is where variables comes into the picture. Okay, it is like a storage boxes, as already you can see in the slides. Variables are one of the most important concepts in the programming language. In fact, every programmer or every program you will write in this future, you will use these variables every time in every line. Almost in every line, you will new variables and new variables. Whether you are building a calculator, a bank application, a student management, or a library management, or a game, you name it, and variable will be there. You have to understand them very carefully. So please do listen. A variable is simply a name that stores location, or we can say it is simply a named location that stores data. Don't worry if the phrase memory location sounds very like technical to you and it sounds very scary to you. Let us understand with very simple. Imagine you are moving in a new house, have several cardboard boxes. One have books, one contains clothes, another utensils, some your personal materials, some containing your kitchen utensils. So you will label them, no? Like this is for books, this is for clothes, this is for kitchen. Instead of opening every box, you will label it that this box refers to this. Okay? Whenever you need something, just simply read the label of that. Suppose you need clothes, so you will open the cloth box, not the books box. Similarly, label is the variable. Constant inside the box are the values stored in the variable. On the slide, we can see the three examples. Age, that is 20, the variable name age, that is stored in the value 20. The variable name is the variable name stores the text Isha, and the variable marks stores the number 95. So notice that the variable names are very much important. They are very much meaningful. Just by looking the variable name, you know what type of data is stored in them. Immediately know what kind of information they contain. Why not we use value directly? You must be wondering now why we are using variables and again and again. Why can't we simply write the values? Imagine writing a student's age in 20 different places in your program. Later, if the age changes, you have to update in all your programming languages. Suppose if I am writing my age 20 in different type in coding line in 20 lines of code, and every time my age is changing, I'm changing it from 18, 19, 20. So again, I have to change 20 lines of code. That is, by listening to that, that seems so frustrating. Instead of you just store it in one variable called age. You store it in a box labeled age. Only change it once and it will be updated accordingly. Elsewhere in every program, it will always use updated value. Okay, so since I have already given you a brief of this, oh, since I have given name Isha, age 80, and second name Arya. Okay, their name, age, and marks are variable names. Here, the equal signs, remember, this equal sign does not remember, it's not similar to mathematical equal. It does not remember meaning equal to. It is used for assigning, for an assignment operator. Okay, we will learn about operator later. It's just assigning the value. It is telling that name has a value that is Isha. Age has a value that is 18. Name 2 has a value Arya. It is assigning the value on the okay. And remember, you cannot change the sign. Whatever the value has been assigned should be on right, and whatever the data has been where the data has been stored has to be on the left. Okay. Notice that Python displays the values that is stored inside it. We are printing variables, not writing the actual values again. If we are updating here 21, it's automatically updating it 21. That is why variables are called variables because they don't have constant value. They can change their value. Python simply replaces the old value and gives you the updated ones. Okay? Common mistake that you will be doing. Suppose here name is in all in the lowercase. For example, change it uppercase. Now when you will run it, it will definitely show you a error because a variable name should, since I already told you, Python is a case sensitive. Name with small n and name with capital N are considered completely different. Now we are moving to literals. Literals are the, as it may sound new, but the concept is actually very similar, very simple, fixed values. Whatever the actual values it return in the code are, it is the data itself. You can say. Whenever you write a code, whenever you write a piece of text, or true, false, whatever you write are literals. There are types of literals given here. Integer, that is whole number like 10, 42, -7, -6, -3, 46, 100, 200, whatever. Whole numbers are integer. Okay, without a decimal point. Float. Decimal points. 3.14, 0.5. I have given you a brief a brief about this already. Okay. String. Anything written in double quotations is considered string. It is already has been used many of times, so I hope you understand it. Boolean. Boolean have only two values that can at always in two possible values, either true or false, 0 or 1. Okay. Boolean is always a true or false condition. It is for checking a condition. Then comes list. List can store multiple values inside a square bracket. You can see there is square bracket. So it stores multiple values. Dictionary stores data in a key value pair. Here, okay, so you can see dictionaries are very much important, very useful. When we will be learning it, please be very carefully. These are a very important topic that we will cover in upcoming lectures. So I'm just giving you a brief about literals, whatever we have written right now. Isha, or here's the age 21, name to Arya, whatever the Arya 21, Isha, whatever is literal, it are literals. Isha is a string literal. 21 is a integer literal. We change it to marks and give it some around 90. We change it to okay, so when we will run it, so this is a float literal. Okay, you can name whatever you want for the variable, but it is considered a habit of a good programmer that you actually stores what the data means. When I say marks, it is storing marks. It is not storing name issue. Okay, so try to be like that. You can even directly print the Boolean values, that is true or false. See, always remember the true and false. Capital letter, the first letter is should be always capital because it is a keyword. I have already told you that it's a reserved word. Okay, so we can always do that. See, true has been printed. And if you want, we can false also. See, remember, since is a keyword, it is coming in different color, telling you that it's a keyword. You cannot use it as variable. Okay. Okay. One of the most important type function I want to let you know. It is a kind of a function that let us know what is the type of literal we are using. Okay. So for example, I have told you that okay, this is I have already told you that this is a string literal or boolean or whatever it is. But I want you to, if you don't know, by the way, for example, if you don't know that what is the type of this literal, how can you identify? So there is a kind of a function that is type. Here, print type. For example, name. I want to know the type of literal name is. Okay. Here you can see it is showing str that represents string. We're writing similar print age. That's an integer here. And print type. Name has been already done, so we're using marks. Now it is showing it's a float. That's a decimal point. Now the last one, that's print type bool. Bool is Boolean, okay? It's showing you bool. That's Boolean, okay? Remember, if you write it as instead of small t, if you're writing it as a capital T, it will throw you an error. As I told you, syntax error. This type is a function. It should be written like that only. So far, we have learned how Python stores the values and what those values are called. Our final concepts of today's practical expression is understanding the difference between expressions, statements, and assignments. And we will, along with that, we'll be learning about operators also. Okay. Okay. Many of students get confused between these two terms also, that is expression and statement. Expression is something that produces a value. Okay. For example, I have given you the slide 10 plus 20, that is 30, performing an addition and a calculation. So expression is value taken. Now statement performs an action. We are printing a message. So it is just displaying a text. Okay, it is not performing any calculation. It is not producing any result. It is just displaying what we have asked here. Assignment variance is something very much different. It is used to store data inside a variable. Right now I have already told you about assignment, right? A basic idea about assignment. So this is how assignment is for assigning the value. Okay? Now we are going to learn a basic idea about operators. Since you have must have understood expressions and all and all. So operators, okay, so operators are arithmetic operators, logical operators, and we have we are going to differentiate between them. Okay, let's start. Suppose a student, I'm using a short form. Suppose a student X. Okay, a student X is storing value 10. Student Y is storing value 20. And I'm using a different variable, that is sum, that is doing the addition of these variables and then printing sum. So this will give you an answer, that is 40. What we have done here, we have used x variable, y variable, literal, that is 10, 20, another variable named sum, and we have added x and y using an operator, that is an mathematical operator, that is addition. Okay, so you must be so today we are just taking a basic idea of operators. Until now all programs stores information and displaying the information, but they couldn't perform calculations. So today we are learning about how to make calculations too. Imagine you want to create a calculator using a Python. Python cannot understand numbers, or a banking application that can successfully account addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, whatever. To make programs useful, we need operators. Operators allows us to perform calculation. We can compare values. Later, we can use it in conditions too. By the by the end of this topic, you will be able to learn mathematical operators. Okay. So operators are special symbols that tells Python to perform a specific operation on one or more value. Okay. Since I have already told you a calculator app, plus signs always means sum. Minus signs means subtraction. Divisions mean so there are some kind of special symbols for that. For here we have for addition we have used is the plus sign. You want to make difference, you are going to use x minus y, that is a minus sign. You want to multiply, okay, so you are going to use x into, this is a sign for multiplication. You have to remember these things, okay. And for division, there is kind of division that is floor division, or we will give a like use that further, and you will know how it is different, okay. Whatever the notations we are using, it plus, minus, multiply, or these slash, these all are the operator symbols. Each operator takes values and performs their certain calculations and produces returns. Values like the x and y, the values x and y's are operands, while the symbols are operators. So we always need to remember these things, okay? Since we are just doing it, let's do it. In some difference, multiply, and addition. Okay, so we have used of these. Okay, now we perform it. You can see how they are very much different. Hope you understood these things. Arithmetical operations are used to perform mathematical calculations. They, as the name suggests, arithmetic is for maths. They are used for frequent addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division. Now, what's a floor division? Let's start. Floor division. When we use double slashes, okay, then it is considered as floor division. Okay, so how is it different from the division? You can see it removes the decimal part and returns only the whole values. Then 0.5, here it was a decimal point, point 0.5 was the decimal part, it was removed and we got the 0. For actual remainder, uh, what we want as remainder, we must use a modulus function. So you must do now modulus mod x is a simple of modulus. Is a mod function. It provides whatever the remainder after division has been done. It is very much like used when we are checking even odd numbers or divisibility tests, whatever we are doing these now. When we need remainder, then we can use it. Okay, along with this, there is one more thing that is exponential. How to exponential is x. That means that x to the power y. These double star symbols refers to the exponential symbols. See, 10 to the power 20. 10 to the power 20. So it is used to calculate powers. Remember these common mistakes that we do. You cannot divide a number with 0. This gives a 0 division error because a division by 0 is mathematically undefined. Since both and after you understood these, of this. Also, you cannot add two strings like that. Okay? If you think that you can add 10 plus 5? Can just give you the answer 105. Must be wondering what happened. See, after you wrote this in double quotation, it is now a string. It won't work as a number. So now whatever you have done, this is called concatenation. Concatenation, it means that you are adding two strings. Remember, whenever you are adding two strings, it will come together like this. But if you remember, you're doing this. There are some rules. Cannot concatenate. See, this is the word concatenate. String with a number. Okay, remember this. A very important topic. One second. Again, you cannot concatenate one number and a string. For concatenation, at least two strings are needed. Okay, so we in this for this part we learn about operators, operands, why operators are needed, addition, multiplication, division, floor division, modulus, and almost everything we have to. Okay, so we have also there is some operators also I want to discuss. Operators like there are assignment operators. The topic assignment operators. So for assignment operators, we have equal to, greater than equal to, less than equal to. Okay. See, these all have different meanings. This is for assigning a value. Okay. Simple equal to means assigning a value. This is for checking the value. If we want to check the value or compare equal values, if the values are equal or not. This is to check greater the value, to check lesser value, is to check greater or equal to value. This is for lesser or equal to value. We will be using these operators in future also, so you don't have to worry about that. We will be using all these operators in a more deep and specific manner. Okay. So these are the assignment and comparison operators because we are comparing that too. So these are basic operations that you should learn. One more topic is left, that is logical operators. Logical operators, since we have learned arithmetic operators that performs calculations, comparison operators that compares two values. Okay, the for comparison. But in real life, we also need to check more than one condition at a time. For example, suppose a student wants to participate in a competition. Okay, so the rule says student must have at least 75% of attendance and at least have 50 marks. Both conditions should be 75% of attendance and 50% of marks in all subjects. Here, checking only one condition is not enough. We have to check both conditions. That's where logical operators are important. Logical operators are used to combine two or more conditions. The reasons of logical operators, the result is always either true or false. And we have given only three logical operators: and, or, and not. Okay, have given only three logical operators: and, or, not. I'm just commenting it. I will let you know about comment in the upcoming video. What is this? This part of code will never be executed. I will let you know how does it work. Now focus on logical operators. So, for example, age and has ID, has eligible. Let's say eligible. Eligible equals to true. Is eligible for anything you want. Now print age if equals to then equal to 18 and eligible and eligible. That means and if it is true. Yes, as ID means that okay, as okay. Let's see. Here. Now it is working. Now I am explaining. Here we had two conditions. Age should be greater than 18. Second condition, whether the person has the ID. Since both conditions are true, Python prints true. Okay, so you understood this thing. Since this is true, this is true, then it is printing true. Okay, so you have also noticed I have been using doubles equal to. That is used to compare the values. That okay, true is equals to true. Now if I change to false, let's see what happens. Just remove this. Check what happens. See, it became false because it is true, but this has ID is false. True and false is false. Now, since the first condition is true but the second is false, and requires both condition needs to be true to print the final result to be true. Means and requires both operations be true or printing result true. Now let's try it with or. Okay, what happens if we are using or we can say both condition must satisfy. One condition is true, other condition is false, still it is saying false. Sorry, it's saying true. That means in OR operator, it is less stricter than AND. If any one condition is true, it will return true. Now, what if we change its age to 6? and make it this one true. Again, it's true because one of these is true. When we make both of them false, then only the answer came false. So it requires both operations, okay, not both, either one operation to be true for printing result as true. Or we can say either of one condition be satisfied. Okay. So I hope you understand both and or. Now the not operator, it is one of the easiest. Not operator is simply reversing the result. Okay. I'm just saying this one. Not. Okay. Since I have given the has ID value as false and I have put not. So let's see what happens. Became true. Not is just reverses the result. If it's true, it will become false, and if it's false, it becomes true. So this is the quick summary. To remember, for and require both operations to be true for printing the results. That means both conditions must be satisfied. Okay. For or, it requires either one of the operation to be true for printing the result true. So any either of one condition must be satisfied. Okay. Not is used for reversing the results. So any if it is true, then it will become false, and if it is false, then it will become true. Okay. Now let us come to our slides. Now here's a quick summary. Syntax means rules, words absorb words, identifier, custom names, variable, storage boxes that are storing the literal values. Literals are the fixed values. Variables are the variable values. Literals are the constant values. Expression is for producing results. Statements are for performing. It is used for performing actions. So you have to practice them all. And if there is any confusion, you can just look in these mind maps. So that will help you to recall what these words mean. Remember, understand these building blocks very clearly because that will only help you to understand the code logic of understanding and what each part of code is doing. The slides summarize everything we have learned in today's lecture. Instead of like cramping it, you can just revise it through these mind maps. So if you it's just a small revision so that everything becomes clear. So this revision I'm giving you, that is age equals to name. So age and name are variables and 18 and Isha are literals. Syntax is a set of rules. Keywords have fixed meaning and are reserved and can't be used in variables. The One more thing, variables should never start words in special characters except at the rate and underscore. Identifiers are name created by the programmers. Expression here, this part, name Isha is an expression itself. Age equals to 18 is an expression itself. Then we have print age, the statement. Now we have done some operators, assignment operators like plus, minus, and multiply, division, differential, co-division, etc. Then we had logical operators that are and, or, not, and almost comparison operators like two equal to greater than, etc. So this is a quite simple summary of whatever we have learned till now. Okay, so this is a quite summary. We will be learning more and more in the future. Okay. Before ending today's lecture, let us look some common mistakes also. Since I already told you, whenever you have to name a space between any your variable, you have to use underscore because it cannot contain spaces. Also, variable cannot begin with numbers, and keywords cannot be used as variables. Uh, if you miss any parenthesis, that will be considered as syntax error. And Python is a case sensitive language, so you must be very much sure that everything is in correct case. Before ending this lecture, always revise what is a syntax, identifier, variable, literal, difference between literal and word, what is the difference between statement and expression, also what is assignment. Assignment is for storing the values, and you have to practice something on your own, create your own variables, name, age, city, create your own identifier, literals, expressions, and name each one of them, whether it's an integer literal, float literal, string literal, boolean literal. Use the function type. Type function, I am again revising it. Type function is used for knowing what is the data, what is the type of the data we are using. Okay, we have learned three assignment statements. Today, at the end, I want to say that we have learned basic of vocabulary in Python. Although we did not write very long programs, today's lecture is one of the most important, and every future topic depends on these concepts. So first, understand these all concepts. We understood syntax, keywords, identifiers, variables, literals, expressions, statements, and assignments. Also, practice and identify. We also practice identifying these concepts through coding. examples, discuss some common mistakes that are made by beginners, encourage you to practice them on your own. Try your own examples, try writing a small program, try build a calculator. Programming is a practice skill. It becomes more and more skill the more you practice, the more you confident become, and the more you will be able to be efficient and to make a good program. The next lecture, we will be moving one step ahead and begin writing real Python programming using variables, different data types. We'll also learn how Python stores different kinds of information. How can we use those information? Thank you for watching this lecture. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next section, new next session. Happy coding.